someone who has a fixed mindset is someone who thinks that someone else winning equals them losing. And that just isn't true.
If you don't believe that there's enough opportunity to 10x your business, how are you going to get your team members to believe that you could 10x your business? Then no one's going to want to work with you.
It's just going to keep happening. There's going to be more and more and more opportunities. You got to have the mindset that I'm going to find those opportunities, then you'll grow and expand.
Welcome back to a brand new episode of the 8-Figure Agency Show, where a successful entrepreneur and a soon-to-be successful entrepreneur help you build an 8-figure agency by documenting our successes and our failures.
Today, I'm really excited about this episode because we're going to be going over how to have the right mindset. Something happened interesting today in our Discord community, which is all full of marketing agencies and founders and CEOs. And somebody reached out and said, hey, I'm starting my agency. We just hit $10,000 a month in recurring revenue. I'm super excited about that, but I'm dealing with imposter syndrome. And I told them, hey, I just was dealing with this yesterday. And then another person chimed in. Then Derrik said, I've dealt with this every 90 days. I go through this. And It's something that we all go through. And there's these stories that we tell ourselves that just aren't true. And we don't realize that there's other people actually going through it. And you can go into a really dark place if you don't get your mindset right. And so there's 3 things that we're going to cover today. And I think the last one is going to be the most impactful. Number 1 is an abundance mindset. How to have an abundance mindset. If you have a fixed mindset, people aren't going to want to work with you. You're not going to be fun to be around. An abundance mindset, everything will just come to you. Second is the 80% rule. This is something that I struggled with for probably about 5 or 6 years. And once I learned this, it really freed me up and helped me scale our company and 5x our company. And then number 3 is leadership mindset. How to have a mindset of a leader and not just somebody who's working in a company. Did I cover everything on that, Derrik?
I believe you did. And look, I mean, with that all said, not only do I deal with the positive every 90 days, I deal with it every single day. I do got to say that. It is a struggle every single day. But abundance mindset, Gary, I have a couple questions for you around that stuff. It's actually something that I've always struggled with significantly. Why is there a million marketing agencies out there, right? Some people do really well, some people don't. But the beauty of business is that there's a lot of room for a lot of different businesses, even in the same space, all to win in their own way. How, or what rather, makes an abundance mindset so important? And even more so, how do you go about getting an abundance mindset if you're someone like me who's always struggled realizing how much abundance there is actually out there?
Yeah, so first, let's just define what a fixed mindset is. So someone who has a fixed mindset is someone who thinks that someone else winning equals them losing. And that just isn't true. So when I started out, I used to do these kind of things. I would say, this is our secret sauce. We're not going to share it. We can't tell anybody how we do our process. We're not sharing it with anybody. We aren't going to talk to any other marketing companies. We're not going to put anything out there into the world or on internet or on social media that people could see how things might work or how our back end works or what we do or how we do it. And it was really just a fixed mindset. I thought that the world was limited and that there was only a limited amount of opportunities and that everybody was going to steal all my ideas, everything that I wanted to do. And what turned it for me was one day I started to share some of the things that we did and people really liked it. And it actually brought us business. And so I shared a little bit more and a little bit more. And eventually what I realized, Derrik, was even if I shared every nook and cranny and every single secret that I had, and I broke it up into 30-minute videos on YouTube, if someone wanted to go reconstruct that by listening to YouTube, they deserve it. They were going to figure it out anyways, right? Like, you're not going to go out. People aren't going to go out and reverse engineer what Gary V or Patrick Bet-David created, even though they've put everything that they've done online. You're not going to go recreate that by listening to all their YouTube videos. It's too hard. And that's why there's things like courses and things like that out there, is because it helps unify the information. But long story short, once I changed my mindset to an abundant mindset, which means that there's unlimited opportunities, and a lot of the opportunities no one's tapped into yet. From there, I was able to actually start to see where there was gaps in the industry and create opportunities for my company that no one else was competing in. And so for the last 5 years or 6 years, Derrik, and I'm very, very spoiled, I literally don't feel like we've had competition. That's not to say that we don't lose clients sometimes. And that's not to say that there aren't boatload of dental marketing companies out there. It's just the way that we go about things and the way that we deliver results and the way that we solve problems. I just don't see anybody else solving them that way. And then when someone does come along and they are going to start solving them that way, that's awesome. I'm super pumped for them. Hopefully by then we've already had 6 or 7 or 8 iterations on what we're doing right now. Now, I will share this with you. If you stop growing as an entrepreneur and you stop growing your business and you stop trying to get better, the world does become a fixed place. And that's because you kind of die out. But if you're always creative and you're always working and improving, the world has tons of opportunity that we haven't even touched yet.
So I have to stop you right there for a second, because the way you ended that resonates with me a lot. Look, having an abundance mindset is great, but the problem is if you have an abundance mindset, or rather when you don't have an abundance mindset, you have to realize that in order to make that switch, it starts with you. Right. Mm-hmm. And so if you don't have it clear here, then what's going to happen? Your team is going to start seeing it that you don't have that abundance mindset. It's going to have that trickle down effect, right? Where if you don't believe that there's enough opportunity to 10x your business, how are you going to get your team members to believe that you could 10x your business? Then no one's going to want to work with you. It's all going to be the bare minimum of just like chugging along. So I guess, how do you tactically go about, like, what tips do you have of realizing that there is so much abundance out there for somebody who's in a position where they feel like they have nothing to do, where there is an opportunity for them and they don't know what to do, how to do it, or where to go, and they feel like they're trapped, they have a fixed mindset? How do you actually get out of that tactically?
Oh man. I just say you go to the world and just look. Like for us, we do dental marketing. So there's 200,000 dentists. And then I look at all the dental marketing companies that are out there. There's enough dental clients, even though 200,000 is not a lot, for most of the people who are really competing, for a lot of them to be successful. So I bring on one of my podcasts, I have Dental Marketing Theory. I bring on people that you would look at, Derrik, and you'd say, that's a direct competitor to Gary. He's bringing on dental marketing companies onto his podcast.
Yep.
But I don't look at it that way. I look at it as, hey, he offers a service. He does it in a totally different way. He has a totally different mindset about it. Anybody who wants to work with him probably doesn't want to work with me, and vice versa. And that's great. How can I learn from him? And he calls me on the side and says, Gary, how are you growing your agency? How are you structuring your team? How are you doing this? And I'm happy to share that with them. And anybody who has an open mindset like that, I'm happy to work with them. I work with multiple different dental marketing companies, and they all have their own little flair and their own approach. And that's great. And I think that's really healthy. And then there are people out there that they're probably like, nope, you're a direct competitor. I don't want to talk with you. That's totally fine. I'm fine with that too. And so for me, it's just going out into the world and talking with people. And the best people to talk to are people who are doing exactly what you're already doing, because they're going to have things for you that you won't believe, it'll rocket ship you ahead years in learning curve, because you're just talking with somebody who's in the same industry as you. So that would be number one. That would be the first thing that I would do.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's really valuable. It really is. And tactically speaking, if you have the abundance mindset, or rather the lack thereof, you have to look at the market that you're in and see, wait, there is, like you said, 200,000 dentists. Even if there was 200,000 companies, everybody does it differently, right? So one person's going to like working here, one person's going to like working here. Why are there so many different banks in the world, right? Local banks, corporate banks, because somebody likes doing business here and somebody likes doing business here, and everybody does it differently.
Yep.
Bottom line, the only thing that I want to point out, though, is this. Gary's speaking from years of experience, right? So for him, when he's talking about an abundance mindset, he has been developing that mindset for years and years and years. For you listening, who might be a lot closer to where I am, or even way before where I'm at right now, an abundance mindset is one of the hardest things to do. I struggle with this, like not only with imposter syndrome, an abundance mindset, especially in the market I'm in, because it is not that big. We don't have 200,000 people we could work with that can afford $2,000 to $5,000 a month on a podcast investment, right? I struggle with an abundance mindset every single day. And what helps me overcome it is focusing on what I can control, right? And not letting the lack of opportunity stop me. Instead, I try to create opportunity, right? I try to create it. I try to see how can I convert a problem into an opportunity. It's actually one of our core values at the company. We structure it as creativity, but what I explain under being creative is whenever there's a problem, make the problem an opportunity. That's how you can develop an abundance mindset. And I guess that really leads into the next thing, Gary.
Well, before I want to talk, before we go, I want to cover one more thing on that. So something really important for me from an abundance mindset standpoint is looking at everybody as a business partner. So everybody's a business partner. Everybody's somebody that can help my business grow. And how can I help them first? So if you go help other people first and say, how can I help this individual? And eventually that person can be a business partner to us, you will win the world. Like that is the number one way to win, is just give to people first. Say, hey, I'm going to help you. And then how can we be business partners? And that's how we're on this podcast today. So I think that's a big part of having an abundant mindset. I would also say this, if we were, what are those people called, phone operators? Remember back in the day, a long time ago, before you and I were born, there was phone operators that had to transfer lines, right? And when the digital phone came out, and your analog phone where you could dial it and go directly to someone's house and dial that number, all of a sudden you didn't need phone operators anymore. So there was two choices, and both mindsets are true. It's whatever one you believe is true. It was, oh no, I'm losing this opportunity for my job. I'm going to lose my job because I can't be an operator anymore. Or there was tons of new opportunities opening up, like secretaries and all these other clerical jobs, because now there's phones. Now there's outbound sales opportunities. Like one opportunity went away, which opened up 100 other opportunities. Then analog phones went away, and then we got these bad boys. And you could be like, well, this is going to change. It's going to be horrible. Or I could look at all the opportunities that no one's even thought of yet. Now we have crypto and all these other Web3. It's just going to keep happening. There's going to be more and more and more opportunities. You just have to, you said it. You got to have the mindset that I'm going to find those opportunities. Not, if you go looking for where there's not opportunities and how horrible everything is, it will be horrible. And if you go in and say, hey, I want to find opportunities to grow and expand, then you'll grow and expand.
Well, I can promise you one thing, Gary. Both of those stories were just clipped, and someone's probably watching it on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube Shorts, because those were two great points. With that said, I mean, guys, it's all about your mindset. But stick around, because we have two more really big mindset things that are going to help you as a business owner and as a leader. So let's go right into the
second. Well, and also I want to call out a couple people who've been interacting with us on social media too at the end. So don't forget that.
Stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that. No, we will bring that back up. But let's go into the 80% rule. What is it? How does it help a business owner? And tell us about how that helps.
Okay, so here's a lie that every business owner tells themselves. I know you've done it, Derrik. I've done it. Every entrepreneur I've ever talked to is, nobody can do this but me and my company. No one can do this. No, I can't hire for this position. I'm going to be in this position forever. No one else can do it.
Yep.
Number one, it's not true. It's just not true. There's nothing that we're doing in this world that's so complicated that in a marketing company that can't be duplicated by someone else and even be done at a higher level. That's number one. Number two, here's the rule. Can somebody else do it at 80% of you? Can they do it at an 80% clip? And if the answer is yes, then you need to start letting those things go and letting your team do it. Now, here's the magic that happens, Derrik. And this is, so I started following that rule, and I started saying, okay, well, I'm going to let you do it. And I know you're going to have to do it at least 80% of me. I wouldn't tell them that, but I'm thinking that, right? But then here's what I didn't realize. They're focusing on it 100% of the time. It became their main job, where before I was focusing on it just a little bit, and I felt like I was doing it at a high level, but really what I was doing is I was like scatterbrained all over the place, and I wasn't really putting my full energy towards it. So I'd hire this person, and they'd put their full energy towards it, and I'm thinking, okay, they're going to do it at 80%. And at first, maybe they did do it at 80% or even a little bit below. But over time, as they focused their energy and they just kept getting 1% better every single day, eventually they became way better than I was doing it. And our company started to morph and change because we had all these departments that were doing it at such a higher level than anything I could ever do. Now I look at almost every department in my company, and all of them are exceeding anything that I could have built by myself.
But so, Gary, I guess where my head goes, and this might seem like a very obvious answer, I think I know what you're going to say, but when you're going through this process and you have the 80% mindset that, hey, there is nobody that or there's no job that I'm doing that can't be hired out or outsourced, right? The problem is you can't expect 100% because it's not their business unless they have equity or something like that, right? But how do you go through that and measure what actually 80% means? For example, I'll give you an example. If I'm working on something and I'm doing it all scatterbrained, which, you and I as business owners, we have a million things happening, but we're actually doing it well, right? Because obviously it's our standards, but we're generating the results that need to be done. We hand it off to somebody who we're looking to have at least 80% of what we're able to do when we're only scattered brain. So imagine if we were like fully focused, right? But they don't get the same results we do, even though we're only scatterbrained. What do? Do we fire them, find somebody else? Are they not the right fit?
Well, your first question is how do we measure it?
How do you measure what 80% actually is? And then how do you ensure the right person's actually in the job?
So this is where having a system, and we talk about this a lot, right? Not bringing people in. So here's what entrepreneurs, here's a huge mistake that I've made over and over and over again. I'll say it this way. I come in and I'm like, okay, I'm doing this thing, I'm doing whatever it is, and it's killing it, it's doing great, and we're performing at this level. And then I hire Derrik, and I say, okay, Derrik, you're gonna come on, you do this thing now. You can shadow me for a day. All right, now you do it. And you come in and you're like, you don't have context, you don't have a system, you've seen me do it like 3 or 4 times. You're going to fail. You're going to fail. I just set you up for failure. So that is a leadership issue. So how you solve that part of it is, okay, I'm doing this thing. I'm going to bring somebody else in. They're going to help me document that thing. I'm going to document it from A to Z. Preferably, the person that I bring in to help me document it knows nothing about that thing. That's what I prefer. I prefer that they're not experts on it. And then they go through and they ask me all these questions. Gary, why did you say this here? What does this mean here? And they're really annoying questions. I'm like, what do you mean? How do you not? This is common sense, but it's not common sense. It's something that I've learned over years and years and years of practice, and it just becomes common sense to me. To other people, it's not common sense. Mm-hmm. So then, and that's why it feels like people just can't do it, is because you have locked up knowledge in your brain you don't even know that you have. And then it's like almost intuitive at this point. So then that person builds a system. Then I bring Derrik in, and I go, Derrik, look, check out the system that I have. And you look at it, and you go, okay, this is really good. And then I say, I would like you to try to do this, and here's what I'm looking for. Here's the KPIs that I'm looking for from this. Do you think you can do this? If this is your full-time job, can you tackle this? And then you're like, oh, absolutely, or no, I can't. And then we gauge off of that. But if you try to do it just off of your emotion and feelings, yes, absolutely, they're going to fail.
That is super valuable because we have maybe talked about systems and processes and KPIs across multiple different episodes, but putting the mindset together with how to find the right person, together with it all just clicked for me. I'm in the show and my mind was just blown. So I'm honestly speechless, but that is huge, right? Because now we've just given you the mindset component, right? Abundance mindset, 80% rule, realizing that you can find people. We've taught you in previous episodes, I believe either episode 1, 2, or 3, how to find the right people, like where you could actually look to hire the right people, the qualities to look for. We've explained, in other episodes, I think like episode 4, 5, or 6, they're honestly, I don't remember, but take a look. How to build the systems. We actually walked people through like how to build checklists, how to build processes. You gave us, there was a book, I don't remember, a checklist manifesto, I do remember. Yeah. I remember it. Now you know the mindset, you know how to build the systems, how to find the people, and KPIs. I remember we just spoke about that a couple episodes ago. Now you can give them the system, you know how to build the system, right? You know how to measure the system by giving them KPIs. And now you could grow and, grow an 8-figure agency for real. But Gary, what's the last component of this mindset? I mean, you have all this, but what's left?
So the last thing is that you have to become a leader. And this is one of the hardest components. And especially for creative people. So if you find yourself being like you're more artistic, usually you're not going to have that desire to lead and grow things as much as somebody who is more of just a natural entrepreneur. But you got to turn into a leader. So there's a couple things that you have to learn how to do, and you have to learn how to do them gracefully, because what got you to the point that you're at right now will not get you to the next level. I'll just say that very, very clearly. Meaning, when you first start a business and it's just you, it's just about grit and determination and not taking no's and not caring what anybody thinks and not caring who's looking and who's not and who cares. And I'm going to make it. I'm kind of spitting in your face a little bit. That's what got you here. That doesn't work when you have a team of 50 people. Yeah, it doesn't work when you get to a team of 100 and then growing from there, right? Like you have to change your mindset of how you're dealing with people, and that grit and determination and all those kind of things need to be turned off a little bit. And then now you need to start being able to work as a leader and not just as the guy that's editing videos or the guy that's doing dental marketing. Two totally different things.
Oh, yeah.
Those are two totally different things. Me doing dental marketing does not mean I'm a good leader. You doing video editing does not automatically make you a good leader. They're separate. You're good at a skill set, and now you have to learn a new skill set, which is harder than your first skill set. Why is it harder? Why is it harder to do leadership than it is to do video editing or dental marketing? Because you're dealing with people, not machines. Editing, you're dealing with a machine and you're battling a machine and you're kind of thinking what people might think. Marketing, dental marketing is the same way. But with leadership, you're dealing with people, emotions, their families, the things that they're thinking, things that other people are telling them, what they're listening to on TikTok. You're competing against all of that. And that's what being a leader is. So there's a couple frameworks that I want to share. Go ahead. You have a question?
Yeah, I mean, I think to lead into to the frameworks, right, where my head goes with that is right now, when you're first starting a business, right, and you fail, it's on you. You're the only person there who's taking the blame for the failure. But when you get a team of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 100 people, 1,000 people, all of a sudden you have hundreds of people or tens of people, whatever amount of number it is, failing in addition to the failures you're having. How do you deal with that as a leader?
Yeah, so this is called failing forward, is what I call it. And when I learned this, it absolutely changed the game for me. So I really struggled with failure. And what I used to try to do is I had a very fake it till you make it mindset, meaning I'm just going to pretend that I know what I'm doing, and I'm going to pretend that I'm winning, and I'm going to tell everybody that I'm winning. And then when I mess up, I'm going to hide it. And guess what my team would do? They would do the same thing. And then when somebody got caught messing up, guess what I would do? Man, I cannot believe you did that. What am I going to, you know what? I'll just have to do it. Right. And so I'd have that mindset. So guess what everybody does in the company when you act that way? They hide all their mistakes and no one gets better. Nothing improves. And then here's what the worst part about it. As leaders, we say, man, why can't I just get a good team? Why can't I just get a team that knows how to do stuff and knows how to fix things? No. It's not your team. It's you. The reason your team's doing that is because of you, because you've created that environment for them. So here's what you have to do. And it's super hard. Number one, you have to realize that you fail. And you have to own that. And you have to become vulnerable of that. This is the foundation of everything, of a company's culture, of how you're going to grow, everything. You fail. Derrik fails. Gary fails. And you have to get vulnerable and you have to talk about it. Hey, guys, I fail. Here's where I failed. Here's where I messed up. Here's the mistakes that I've made. And you have to talk about it regularly and very openly. Then from there, you have to learn how to let your team fail. And you have to learn to let them try things and fail and give them a structure to be able to actually do that safely. It won't happen overnight because the team doesn't want to tell you that they're failing because they're worried they're going to get fired. Now, it's easy for you to say you're failing because you're not going to fire yourself. But your team's not going to trust that right off the bat. So you have to draw that out of them. And then you almost have to praise failure. You have to learn how to praise and say, man, you are killing it. You went out there and you tried something new, and you have to do this in front of everybody. You went out there and you tried something new and it didn't work. And I know it's going to lead to you doing the next big thing. I know you're one step closer. Now, this is different than people being negligent. So a lot of times people hear me say this and they're like, well, Bobby stayed up all late last night and then showed up 3 hours late to work because he was playing video games last night. That's not the kind of failure I'm talking about. That's negligence. Oh, Bobby forgot to respond to an email and then the client did it. No. That's negligence. That's not pushing the ball forward and pushing it so hard that you end up pushing it a little bit to the right or the left. Two different things, okay? So you gotta be able to decipher those two things. But the reason this is in the mindset section, Derrik, is your team will never fail forward and grow and learn and actually innovate and make progress until you learn to let yourself fail. And you have to become very vulnerable with this. Now, here's the cool thing about it. Like 80% of my social media is like me just talking about stuff that I messed up.
It's why I followed you. It's why I followed you. We wouldn't be sitting here today if it wasn't for his TikToks. Like in the car, here is what cost me $1 million, or here is why this person quit. It's true. I mean, it works. You get vulnerable, you get honest, you show why you're failing. People like it. I like it. I think it's why we're going to be successful with the show one day.
Yeah, it's it's very relatable, and people, it's called being vulnerable, and then you just open yourself up. And some people do rip on you, right? I've had people in the comment section just be like, "You're an idiot. You could have saved that account. You could have done this," and I'm just like, "Okay, whatever." But it helps other people. That Me pretending that I'm just, hey, we made the Inc. 5000 list 2 times in a row and that's all my content and that's it. No one can relate to that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But they can relate to, here's where I've lost people. Here's how my company went backwards. Here's how we had to reset things. Here's how I had to rebuild my sales team 3 times. Here's all of those things. That's what people relate to. So failing forward is a big one. The next one is not fixing everybody's problem. So in a business, what you are probably doing right now in your size business, Derrik, and I did it, and I did it for a long time. I probably did this for a decade, is I became a firefighter. So I'd run over here, I'd fix somebody's problems. I'd run over here, fix somebody's problems, and I'd run over here and fix somebody's problems. The problem with that is your team, you're training your team to come to you and let you fix all the problems, and that is very, very safe for them. And let me explain why. If you're my boss, Derrik, and I know you're going to fix the problem, and when I have a problem and there's a little bit of risk that I might not be able to fix it, I would much rather put it on you and let you fix it, because if it doesn't work, the fix that you apply, my job is not at risk.
Yeah.
So you just trained me to just come to you with all my problems. And then here's what the leader does. Nobody on my team's a problem solver. No. You turned them into that. There's people on your team that are problem solving. You created a safe place for them to bring you all the problems and never actually fix anything. Now, I will say this. You don't want to train your team to fix problems unless they're able to diagnose. And this is the third point. And this one's really, really important. And I actually just learned this mental framework a while ago, and it's really been helpful for me. So most of the time, here's what we say. And I've heard you say this. I've said it. Hey, if you have a problem, bring me 3 solutions. But what if their solutions are solutions to a problem that doesn't actually exist?
Yep.
And that happens all the time, right? Because they don't have context, because they only have context of their job. So you have to teach your team how to not only communicate vertically, but horizontally between departments. And then you have to teach them the value of diagnosing the problem is actually more valuable than the solution. And most people will argue with that and say, no, the solution's more important. Well, not if it's wrong.
Yeah, how could the solution be more important if you're diagnosing the wrong problem or if you're solving for the wrong problem? Yeah,
so really so here's what you have to do, and I've been really working on this. This is something that we're really working on, and I'm constantly pushing, is that I don't care about solutions. I just want to know what the problem is and why it's happening. And guess what happens when we start having, and I ask it over and over and over again, even when it's obvious. Even when it's obvious to me and I think it's obvious to other people, I'm just like, so tell me what the problem is exactly. What are we fixing? And just I harp that. And guess what happens? Solutions are easy when you know what the problem is. Solutions are hard when you don't know what the problem is. And that's where we get ourselves in trouble. Like, I don't know the exact answer. I'll just kind of pun that off and let them figure it out. Well, the problem is they're fixing something that probably isn't broken yet.
Wow, that's huge. That's huge. I got to call myself out. The amount of times I have done that. I think on my team meeting yesterday, we were doing the same thing. You got to know what the problem is you got to diagnose the right problem and then solve for the right problem. If you're solving or giving solutions for the wrong problem, even though it might seem like it's the right one, diagnosing the problem is, kind of what makes or breaks. I want to put this all together. I think bottom line, as a business owner, your mindset will dictate how successful you are. If you have a limiting belief or a fixed mindset, you'll never be able to grow and really accomplish the big things that, people accomplish in this world. Because if you have an abundance mindset, you'll be able to realize that there is, for lack of a better word, an abundance of opportunities, an abundance of money, an abundance of amazing people out there. You just have to be able to find them and give yourself the mindset to do that. You also have to realize that there are great people out there for your team, right? As a leader, you have to know that you can hire people to fulfill the roles you're doing. How do you think that the top executives and CEOs of company aren't the one talking to the client on a Monday afternoon, right? They're not doing that. That's because there's people that they find that are good enough to do that. They build systems, they build checklists to make that happen. And how do you become a good leader? It all starts in here. Work on this and everything else will result after getting a clear mindset. I hope we provided value. I want to talk about the people on social, Gary. I want to shout out some of these people.
So Pun Camp just reached out to me today. His name is Mitchell Purcell. He's in our community Discord. He just shared with me today. I'll just read it. He said, just wanted to update you that I hit my $10,000 a month in July, and I'm almost to hit $10,000 again in August. So he's already built out a recurring revenue model. And so I'm super pumped about that. He's actually messaging me right now. And then there was one other individual what was his name? The guy that said he's quitting his job and starting his agency.
It was Odell.
Odell, that's right. Odell shared with us, and he's in a Discord community as well. He shared that he's quitting his job, starting his agency, and so we're super, super excited. We're seeing a lot of people actually start their agencies, growing them, and the people that are involved in the Discord community, I didn't know how this would all work and what would happen and who would be involved and who wouldn't. But what I'm seeing right now is the people who are participating, all of their agencies are growing, every single one of them. So I'm really excited about that.
Hey, I gotta say, I was here since basically the start. I was one of the first people in the Discord. Watching it grow to the point it's at now is absolutely amazing. I personally am one of the members who has been able to grow my business, literally 10xing it. You know, it's been incredible. I will tell you, if you guys are an agency owner and you want in, definitely go apply. The link is down below, agencygrowthengine.com. I don't know what the slash is, but the link will be down below. I'm actually super excited because tomorrow I get to teach a class. Like, I'm leading one of the sections there. We break it up into 3 sections based on revenue and goals. So if you guys want to talk with me based on everything I talk about Gary and what he shares with me, I'll be able to share back with you. It'll basically be regurgitating
the cool part is Derrik, you're doing the group of people who are just starting their agencies.
Exactly.
You're about 6 months to a year ahead of them.
Yep.
And so sometimes I don't get what people are going through because I went through it a long time ago. And so you're right ahead of them. And then we have another group right above that. And we have a leader in that and another group above that. And we're just going to keep adding groups and we're going to keep them smaller. And it's all free. That's the part that's great, is that when I started out, I didn't have money to join a mastermind and I didn't have any resources. There wasn't anything like this. And so I just wanted to create something that people could come to. There's no obligation besides just coming to a monthly meeting and having your camera on and participating, and you'll get massive value. It doesn't matter what size agency you have, you will get value out of it.
Guys, it is a no-brainer. It is free. It takes an hour and a half of your time per month, and you get to literally speak to people like me and Gary. This is like, come on, this is no-brainer. Yeah, I mean, with all that said, Gary, is there anything else you wanted to touch on before we wrap things up?
Nope, that's it. I think that's we hit it all today.
All right. With that said, guys, thanks so much for watching and listening. It's been a while since we recorded. This felt really good, at least for me. I hope for the same for you, Gary.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching and listening. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. New uploads every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern. We're actually going to be throwing out some longer form highlight clips, so stay tuned. We have one going out this week, guys. Stay tuned for that. If you're not the type of person who likes the full-length podcast, I get it. You're busy. Short form content, TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts. We're everywhere. Thanks so much for being here with us. Leave us a review, and we'll see you guys next week.